Zara 7, the youngest fleet commander in the galactic hegemony's history, watched the tactical display with growing disbelief. The human vessel, approaching their blockade line, defied every principle of advanced starship engineering she had learned in her 3 centuries of military service. "Scan results confirmed, Commander," reported her tactical officer, his crystalline appendages flickering with confusion. "The vessel's hull composition is primitive carbon steel alloys, reinforced with titanium plating. No energy shielding detected. No antimatter cores. The propulsion system appears to be—" He paused, checking his readings twice. "Fusion-based ramjets with chemical boosters." Zara 7's compound eyes dilated in what her species considered amusement. "A museum piece approaches our most advanced battle fleet. How delightfully foolish these humans are." The human ship, designation Defiance Edge, continued its steady approach toward the alien blockade surrounding Earth's moon. Behind the command chair of the seemingly antiquated vessel, Dr. Kenji Nakamura stood quietly, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he observed the enemy formation through the bridge's reinforced viewing ports. At 28 years old, Kenji had already revolutionized 3 separate fields of theoretical physics. His doctoral thesis on quantum mechanical engineering had been dismissed by Earth's academic establishment as impossible fantasy. Now, as humanity faced extinction, those same academics had begged him to make his fantasies reality. "Sir," called out Lieutenant Rodriguez from the navigation station, "we're receiving multiple targeting locks from the alien fleet. 47 vessels, each roughly 3 times our mass." Kenji nodded calmly. "Maintain current heading and speed. Begin charging the primary systems." Rodriguez glanced nervously at the energy readings on her console. The ship's power signature was increasing, but not in any way that made sense, according to conventional physics. Aboard Zara 7's flagship, the sensor technician's confusion was escalating to alarm. "Commander, the human vessel's energy output is— it's creating readings I've never seen before. The quantum field around their ship is behaving strangely." "Strangely? How?" Zara 7 demanded. "It's as if space-time itself is bending around their hull. But that's impossible without gravitational manipulation technology, and our scans show no exotic matter reserves aboard their vessel." Zara 7's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. The humans had been observed for decades, their technological development carefully catalogued by hegemony intelligence. They were barely capable of interplanetary travel, still relying on chemical rockets and primitive fusion drives. Yet something about this particular ship was triggering every anomaly detector in her fleet. "Open a communications channel," she ordered. The view screen shimmered, revealing the bridge of the human vessel. A young man with intense dark eyes and an expression of absolute calm looked directly at her. "I am Zara 7, Fleet Commander of the Galactic Hegemony. You will surrender your vessel immediately or be destroyed." Kenji smiled slightly. "I am Dr. Kenji Nakamura, designer of this vessel." "I'm afraid surrender isn't an option, Commander. You see, you've made a fundamental error in your assessment of human capabilities." "Your ship is primitive," Zara 7 replied dismissively. "Our weapons can vaporize your hull in seconds." "Please proceed with your attack," Kenji said politely. "I'm quite curious to see the results." The audacity of the human's response sent ripples of shock through Zara 7's bridge crew. No species had ever spoken so casually to a hegemony fleet commander. "Fire," Zara 7 commanded. 17 plasma cannons discharged simultaneously, their combined energy output sufficient to glass a small moon. The brilliant beams converged on the human vessel's position and simply vanished. The silence on Zara 7's bridge was absolute. "Sensor report," she whispered. "The energy. It's gone, Commander. Not absorbed, not deflected. It simply ceased to exist the moment it contacted their hull." Kenji's voice came through the communications channel, still maddeningly calm. "The fundamental flaw in your thinking, Commander, is assuming that advanced technology must be complex. You've spent millennia developing exotic matter manipulators, quantum field generators, and antimatter containment systems, all impressively sophisticated." On his ship's bridge, Kenji walked to a simple-looking console and placed his hand on what appeared to be an ordinary metal panel. "But you never asked the crucial question, what if there's a simpler way?" The space around the Defiant's edge began to shimmer, not with energy shields or defensive fields, but with something far more fundamental. Reality itself seemed to be responding to the ship's presence. "You see," Kenji continued, "while you were mastering the manipulation of matter and energy, I discovered something else entirely. The universe has rules, Commander. Physical laws that govern every interaction, every particle, every force. Most beings accept these rules as immutable constants." Zara 7's sensors were now detecting impossible readings. The human ship's mass was fluctuating wildly, while its energy signature remained steady. Space-time curvature around the vessel was shifting in patterns that violated general relativity. I learned to rewrite the rules. The human ship began to move not through space, but by changing space around it. Distance became negotiable. Inertia became optional. The vessel appeared to be in 17 different locations simultaneously, while somehow remaining in the same place. "Impossible," Zara 7 breathed. "That's what my professors said," Kenji replied. "The universe doesn't care about our opinions of possibility. It only cares about mathematics, and mathematics can be persuaded." The Defiant's edge was now moving through the alien fleet, not around it. The ship passed through 3 enemy vessels without any apparent interaction, yet each alien ship it touched simply ceased to function. Their crews remained unharmed, but every system aboard their vessels had become inert. "How?" Zara 7 demanded. "I convinced their electronics that they never existed," Kenji explained matter-of-factly. "Quantum mechanics allows for some very interesting philosophical arguments about the nature of reality. When you can manipulate quantum probability at the macro scale, the line between real and unreal becomes remarkably flexible." 23 more alien vessels found their systems mysteriously failing as the human ship continued its impossible passage through the fleet. The remaining ships opened fire desperately, their weapons producing spectacular light shows that accomplished absolutely nothing. "Your terms of surrender?" Zara 7 asked, her military pragmatism overriding her shock. "Simple," Kenji replied. "Leave our solar system. Spread word throughout your hegemony that humanity is not to be disturbed. In return, we'll continue to pretend that interstellar politics exist and that your empire has meaning." "And if we refuse?" Kenji's expression didn't change, but the space around his ship began to ripple in patterns that hurt to look at directly. "Commander, I can rewrite the fundamental constants that hold your atoms together. I can convince causality that your species never evolved. I can make gravity forget how to affect your worlds. I prefer not to do such things, as they're rather permanent, but I will if necessary." Zara 7 stared at the young human, finally understanding what her sensors had been trying to tell her. This wasn't advanced technology in any sense she comprehended. This was something far more terrifying, a mind that had learned to treat the universe as a logic problem and had found ways to argue with physics itself. "Withdraw the fleet," she ordered quietly. As the alien vessels began their retreat, Kenji turned to his crew. "Set course for Earth. I believe we have some explaining to do to the Defense Council." Lieutenant Rodriguez, still staring at readings that shouldn't exist, asked the question that was on everyone's mind, "Sir, how is any of this possible?" Kenji smiled and gestured at the impossible readouts surrounding them. "Physics isn't about what's possible, Lieutenant. It's about what's inevitable once you understand the rules well enough to change them. In the growing distance, Zara 7 composed her report to Hegemony Command, knowing it would be dismissed as the ravings of a commander who had suffered some kind of breakdown. After all, no species could possibly develop the ability to argue with reality itself. She was wrong, but the universe was perfectly willing to let the hegemony discover that fact the hard way.